right, folks, we are back for our second topic for Monday. This one is actually pretty easy too, as long as you can remember one simple rule. And this rule, the first thing I'm going to ask you when you come into small group today, I'm going to tell you, write down this rule on your whiteboard. If you cannot write down this rule, okay, I'm going to write it here. So if you want to write it and save it, if you're not confident in your spelling, I'm fine with that. But this rule needs to be written down. It needs to be drilled into your head. Okay? Whenever you're adding or subtracting decimals. Okay? When we add or subtract decimals. So write this down because you're going to have to reproduce this. If you don't reproduce this, I'm sending you out of the meeting. When we add or subtract decimals, we must align or line up the decimals. Okay? So when you add or subtract decimals, we must align or line up the decimals. When we add or subtract decimals, we must align or line up the decimals. I'm going to say this a few more times because this is vitally important. You have to know how to do this, know if, ands, and buts about it. And I'm going to say it so many times so it sticks in your head. You need to say it you need to say this like 100 times. If you can't, you need to remember this like you remember your name. You need to remember this like you know your parents' phone number. You need to know this like you know where you live. When we add or subtract with decimals, we must align or line up the decimals. When we add or subtract our decimals, we must align or line up the decimals. Okay? That is the hardest part of this assignment, and it's not hard at all. After that, you just add and subtract. So let me show you what I mean. But don't forget, when we add or subtract decimals, we do what? Say it out loud. Perfect. We line up our decimals. I feel like Steve in Blue's Clues or Dora. So you guys better say it because I'm over here looking real silly, waiting for pauses like it's like a Nick Jr. show. So don't make me look bad. Make sure you repeat it. Okay, so let's start with something super, super easy. Let's say I have 3 and 5 hundredths, and I want to add 2 and 11 hundredths, okay? This is what I want to do. I want to add what's here, okay? Now, you see, my decimals are aligned. They're lined up, meaning if I drew a line down, I would see my decimals lined up together. And then each digit is lined up accordingly. Remember, what is it? You want to make sure that your numbers are lined up neatly. So one way you can do this is if you have your paper, instead of working on a paper and working with this orientation with the paper standing straight up, turn it on its side. And then you can put one number into each one of these lines. They kind of make their own little barriers for you so you know not to go past it, okay? So this is a great technique when you're doing any kind of standard algorithm. Turn that paper to the side and lock each number inside one of these columns. It will help you out a lot. So I'm going to keep my columns there. So I know that all of you have rotated your paper to the side now, right? And you have your numbers in each column. So make sure after you put your decimal place in, you put your number, your decimal place, line up your decimal place, one number per column, because your paper is to the side. Now, if you come to me and you ask for help and you're writing right side up, I'm going to tell you turn it to the side. If you say, what does that mean, Mr. Hill? I don't know. I'm going to send you back to this video for a refresher. Okay, so 5 plus 1 is 6. 0 plus 1 is 1. 3 plus 2 is 5. And at the end, you make sure that you bring your decimal down again. Every location where you see my decimal, it is lined up. Let me get another color actually. That way it'll stand out even more that this needs to be lined up. So let's try one more problem. What about 0? Oh, no, we're going to do that in a different color. 0 and 8/10 plus 3 and 2/10. You see my decimals are aligned. They're lined up. I can put a ruler here and they'll be straight, looking right above each other. And my paper is sideways. So I have each column has only that one number, right? Each column only has that one number. Or sorry, each row, when you're going across, only has that one number there, right? And so our columns are nice and aligned. We have our decimals there. And here, we just add like normal. So 8 plus 10 is 0. We carry over the 1. 0 plus 3 is 3. We add that 1 at the top, and we get 4. Now, what do we do with the decimal, kids? We bring it down. That is correct. We bring it down, and we make sure that all the decimals are what? Aligned. Yes, because we are doing our addition and subtraction. And whenever we add or subtract with decimals, we have to make sure that our decimals are aligned. Okay? So if you know how to add and subtract, this is super easy. This is the only part where you have to think. The rest, adding and subtracting, you should know how to do. If you do not know how to add and or subtract, I am not teaching that. Go home, practice, have your mom or dad, big brother, sister, little sister, write you some problems because we're not doing adding. That's something you need to know how to do. All right. Now, let's say we get a problem like this. We get a 3 and 1600ths plus 2 and 1/10. What do we do here? This looks weird. If we have our little lines, right? We have our decimals lined up. This is missing a number. It doesn't have a buddy. Just put a 0. Whenever you have an opening, we're probably going to be putting zeros in there. Okay? So you put the 0, and then that way there's a number where it's aligned at. Just makes it look neater and helps to minimize mistakes in the long run. 6 plus 0 is 6. 1 plus 1 is 2. Our decimal, we bring it down. 3 plus 2 is 5. Another way you might hear this said is annexing. Annexing is a fancy way to say add. Annex your zeros. I'm going to move a little bit quicker because we're going to go to subtraction. Nothing changes. If you know how to subtract, you know how to do this. Oh, wait. We don't even have to do subtraction yet. This is even easier than I thought. Subtraction is next week. All you have to do is add. So I'm going to put a problem here, 2 problems. I want you to solve. Okay? So pause it and solve it. All right, so I know everybody paused it. I'm going to go ahead and add my 0, 5, 5, bring down my decimal, make sure it's aligned. 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 1 is 4 here. 8 plus 4 is 12. So you're going to put the 2 here, and you're going to carry over the 1. Okay? And if you don't understand why I'm carrying that over, please come and meet with me in small group or bring it up during open Zoom, and I can explain to you why that's happening, okay? Most of us should know, but if you don't, let me know, and I can teach that. I'm not going to teach you how to add, but I will help you understand why we're bringing that over if you need help with that, okay? So good luck, and I will see you in the small group in a few minutes.